Commander Jalen Ardent had seen a lot in his life. He had led human expeditions to uncharted planets, negotiated peace between hostile colonies, and faced creatures that no one on Earth had ever imagined. Yet, nothing had prepared him for the day he first landed on Jira. Jira was small and strange from the human perspective. Its sky shimmered in shades of violet and gold, and the ground glowed softly beneath every step. Trees were tall but translucent, almost like glass, and rivers ran with liquid that reflected every color of the rainbow. Jalen had expected exotic beauty, but Jira was almost too perfect, almost unreal. He had arrived with a mission. Humanity had been exploring the galaxy for decades, and now, finally, they had encountered the Xerians, a tiny race known for their intelligence and technological skill. The humans had never met them before, and preliminary reports had described the Xerians as odd-looking, even ugly. The description didn't bother Jalen. He had long since learned that beauty was often in the eye of the beholder. But he did wonder what kind of civilization could thrive on such a dazzling world. The first contact was scheduled at the central crystalline hall of the Xerian Council. Jalen stepped into the hall and stopped. The room was alive with light and color, a swirling mosaic of soft glows that seemed to dance along the walls. And then, he saw them. 3 figures approached, small and delicate, barely reaching Jalen's shoulders. Their skin shimmered in soft metallic hues. One silver, one bronze, one pale gold. Their eyes were large, bright, and intelligent, and their movements were smooth, almost fluid. Jalen had to admit they were not what the human reports had described. They were different, yes, but far from ugly. The council's voice echoed softly in the hall. "Commander Jalen Ardent," it said in perfect human-accented English, "you have been chosen to form a bond with 3 of our most esteemed citizens. This union is not one of romance, but of understanding and alliance." Jalen blinked. "A bond?" he asked cautiously. "Yes," replied the council. "To secure lasting peace and cooperation, our custom requires a symbolic union between our kind and yours. You will take these 3 as your brides." Jalen's stomach did a flip. He had expected negotiations, maybe a tour of the planet, but not this. Marriage? To 3 beings he had just met? He opened his mouth, then thought better of it. Every diplomat in the galaxy had encountered strange customs, but this was a first. He studied the 3 Xerians in front of him. Each bowed gracefully, their heads dipping in a perfect curve. The silver-skinned one spoke first. "I am Lyra," she said, her voice melodic and calm. "I have served our people in research and invention." The bronze one stepped forward. "I am Taina," she said. "I oversee communications and diplomacy. And you, Commander, will find our skills complementary to your own." Finally, the pale gold one smiled gently. "I am Vea. I study culture, history, and the arts. Together, we will help you understand Jira, as no other human has." Jalen took a deep breath. "And if I agree?" The council's tone was formal but kind. "Then, you will be welcome to our home. You will learn from each other. You will share knowledge. And together, you will become the symbol of trust between our peoples." It sounded strange, almost absurd, but the logic was undeniable. Jalen had spent his life building bridges between civilizations. Perhaps this was simply the most unusual bridge he would ever cross. "Very well," he said finally. "I accept your offer." The Xerians nodded, smiling in unison. "Then tonight, we begin." Jalen followed them out of the hall and into the city. Jira was even more extraordinary up close. Buildings spiraled like giant crystals, and the streets were lined with glowing flora that hummed softly underfoot. The 3 Xerians guided him with easy grace. And as they walked, they talked not in a formal manner, but in a way that made him feel at ease. Lyra explained the technology behind the floating lights. Taina pointed out the communication nodes hidden in the trees. Vea described the planet's rich history, of how Girians had survived natural disasters and built a society based on knowledge and creativity. Jalen listened, fascinated. Each word, each gesture, made him realize how little humans really understood the galaxy. He had gone expecting to meet strange creatures, but instead, he met a civilization rich with ideas and innovation. Finally, they reached a dwelling unlike anything Jalen had ever seen. It was small but elegant, with walls that reflected the soft light outside, and furniture that seemed to grow organically from the floor. The Girians gestured for him to enter. "This will be your home," Vea explained. "It is simple, but comfortable. Here, you will begin your journey with us." Jalen stepped inside and felt a sense of calm he hadn't experienced in years. There was no tension, no fear, only curiosity and potential. He realized that this first night would not be about ceremony, or formal rituals, or awkward human misunderstandings. It would be about discovery. As the three Girians prepared for the evening, Jalen found himself watching them. Lyra's hands moved quickly over a small device, repairing it effortlessly. Taina adjusted the lighting in the room, and it responded instantly, glowing in soothing tones. Vea unrolled a tapestry-like display, showing him the history of Gira, from the first settlers to the present day. For the first time in his career, Jalen felt truly small, not because he lacked skill or courage, but because the universe was bigger, and stranger, and more beautiful than he had ever imagined. The Girians gathered around him, sitting on cushions that seemed to float slightly above the floor. They began to explain the next steps, not as masters and student, but as equals. Jalen realized that tonight was not about rules or customs, it was about understanding, and learning, and respect. He laughed softly. "I suppose the reports were wrong," he said. Lyra tilted her head, amused. "Perhaps, Commander. Humans are the ones who judge too quickly. Beauty is more than skin deep. And power is not always in size." Taina added, "Intelligence, kindness, and creativity, these are the qualities that endure. You will see that soon." Vea smiled gently. "And tonight is only the beginning." Jalen looked at them, three figures who were unlike anything he had ever known. They were small, delicate, and yes, some humans might call them ugly at first glance, but he could already see their strength, their wit, their courage, and something else, too. A spark of something extraordinary. As the evening drew on, he realized that this night would change everything, not only his understanding of Gira, but also his understanding of the galaxy, and of what it meant to be human. He had come as a commander, ready to negotiate and lead. But tonight, he was a student, learning from beings whose wisdom surpassed anything he had ever imagined. And for the first time in a long while, he felt truly alive. The evening air on Gira shimmered softly as Commander Jalen stepped into the central room of his new dwelling. The walls glowed faintly, casting warm reflections on the crystal-like floor. Outside, the sky was a painting of violet and gold, and the distant rivers sparkled as though sprinkled with starlight. Jalen had expected strangeness from this planet, but what awaited him inside was beyond imagination. Lyra, Taina, and Vea moved with a quiet grace, welcoming him with gentle nods. They had prepared the space not for ceremony, but for conversation, learning, and comfort. Cushions hovered slightly above the floor, inviting him to sit, and a low, melodic hum filled the room, soothing his nerves. "Commander," Lyra said, her silver skin catching the light, "tonight is not about ritual. It is about understanding. You are our guest, but also our partner in knowledge." Jalen nodded slowly. He had prepared himself for negotiation and diplomacy, for charts and treaties, but not for this. This was not a meeting of leaders. It was a meeting of minds. Vea gestured to a display on the wall. It unfolded like a holographic tapestry, showing the history of Gira. Each panel revealed layers of culture, science, and art. "We wish to share our world with you," she explained, "not as conquerors or rulers, but as equals who hope to learn from one another." Taina added, "Many humans think we are strange, They judge by appearance, by size, by shape. But what they do not see is what is inside our intelligence, creativity, and spirit. You will see that soon. Jalen leaned forward, fascinated. I admit, your reports on yourselves, they don't do justice, he said. There is beauty here, of a kind I have never encountered. The three Girians exchanged soft smiles. Lyra moved closer and tapped a device on the floor. A soft glow rose in the center of the room, forming a table-like surface with intricate projections. On it, images of Jira's inventions appeared: machines that could repair themselves, energy converters that used only sunlight, and intricate transportation systems that hovered effortlessly above the ground. These are some of the things we have created, Lyra said. We wish to show you how we think, how we solve problems, and how we live in harmony with our environment. Jalen studied the images, impressed. Humans had advanced technology. But this was different. The Girians seemed to combine intellect with creativity in ways he had never imagined. He realized that he had underestimated them, just as humans often underestimated anyone who looked different. As the night deepened, they shared more than technology. Vea brought out a projection of the planet's natural landscapes. Rivers, mountains, forests, and valleys moved fluidly across the display. Each ecosystem shone in its full richness. She spoke of the delicate balance Girians maintained, of the ways they ensured every species could thrive, and of the deep respect they had for their world. Jalen listened, captivated. In all his travels, he had encountered life that was advanced, life that was intelligent, but rarely life that was as thoughtful, as deliberate, and as caring as this. The Girians were small, yes, but their minds were vast, their creativity boundless. Then Taina smiled and raised a hand. The room shifted, and small floating orbs appeared, each containing a miniaturized model of Jira's cities and habitats. We wanted you to see our world from all angles, she said. Not just as a visitor, but as someone who might one day live among us. Jalen walked among the orbs, marveling at the precision and beauty of their designs. These cities, they are alive, he said. It's like every building, every structure, is part of the planet itself. Lyra nodded. Exactly. We do not conquer the world. We learn from it, adapt to it, and grow with it. That is our strength. The night moved on, and the conversation turned personal. The Girians asked Jalen about his travels, his life, and his experiences among humans. He told them stories of daring expeditions, of moments of discovery, and even of failures. They listened without judgment, only curiosity and interest. You humans are bold, Vea said softly. You take risks that most species would avoid. That courage is admirable. Eninan, and you, Jalen replied, looking at them with newfound respect, are more than anyone could imagine. You are clever, resourceful, and remarkable. For a moment, there was silence. The room felt alive with thought and understanding. Jalen realized something profound. This first night was changing him. He had expected to meet beings of a different appearance, perhaps learn some cultural lessons, but he had not expected to feel respect, admiration, and a strange sense of kinship so quickly. To lighten the mood, Lyra gestured at one of the floating orbs. Would you like to see something fun? She asked. With a wave of her hand, the orb expanded, showing a miniature simulation of Jira's wildlife. Creatures of every shape and color moved gracefully, demonstrating behaviors and social interactions. Some humans might have called them strange or even ugly, but to Jalen, they were fascinating, even beautiful in their own way. He laughed aloud, genuinely. You're right, he admitted. I was wrong. Everything here is unexpected in the best way. The three Xerians smiled, pleased. It was a simple exchange, but it carried meaning. Jalen realized that tonight was not about appearances at all. It was about understanding, learning, and mutual respect. As the hours passed, they shared food and drink, though nothing resembled human meals. The flavors were strange but delightful. with textures and aromas that Jalen had never imagined. Eating together was a simple act, but it carried the weight of trust and hospitality. Then Vea suggested a quiet activity. "Come," she said, leading him to a soft, glowing mat. "Let us show you a part of our culture, music, and expression." They began to play instruments that were entirely alien to Jalen. The sounds were delicate and layered, and each note seemed to resonate with the crystal walls, creating harmonies that were both calming and energizing. Lyra, Taina, and Vea moved in rhythm with the music, demonstrating gestures that told stories without words. Jalen watched in awe. This is incredible," he said. "I've never seen or heard anything like it. It is our way of speaking without speaking," Vea explained. "Of sharing emotion, thought, and history simultaneously. We hope you feel it." And he did. Every note, every movement, every small gesture filled him with wonder. He felt connected not just to the Xirians, but to their world itself. Xira was alive, not just in the rivers or forests, but in its people, in their minds, and in their hearts. The night drew to a close, and Jalen felt a sense of peace he had not known for years. He had arrived expecting strangeness, uncertainty, and perhaps a challenge. Instead, he had found curiosity, intelligence, and beauty of a kind that transcended form. As he prepared to rest, the 3 Xirians gathered near him. "Tonight was only the beginning," Lyra said softly. "There is much to learn and much to share. We hope you are ready." "I am," Jalen replied, his voice quiet but firm. "I want to learn everything." Taina smiled. "And we will teach you. Together, we will discover what it means to truly understand one another," Vea added. "This night has changed everything already. Tomorrow will bring more knowledge, more wonder, and more connection. You are not just our guest, Commander, you are part of this world now, as we are part of yours." Jalen looked at the 3 of them, small figures glowing in the soft light, and realized that he had never felt so welcomed, so curious, or so alive. This was more than a first night, it was the start of a journey that would change him forever. As sleep finally claimed him, he felt a quiet thrill. He had come to Xira as a human commander, ready to negotiate and explore. But tonight, he had learned something far more important. That true understanding, true beauty, and true strength often came from unexpected places, and that the ugly might be the most extraordinary of all. And with that thought, Jalen drifted into dreams of floating cities, radiant rivers, and 3 small but remarkable beings who had already changed the way he saw the universe. The morning light of Xira poured through the crystalline windows, casting a kaleidoscope of colors across the room. Commander Jalen awoke slowly, his mind still buzzing from the night before. He had expected strangeness when he agreed to the union with the 3 Xirians, but what he had found was far beyond his imagination. Their intelligence, their creativity, and their deep understanding of the world had left him in awe. He stretched and saw Lyra, Taina, and Vea already awake, moving gracefully around the room. Lyra was adjusting a small device on the wall, which hummed softly as it corrected the lighting and temperature. Taina was at a floating console, checking communications with nearby settlements. And Vea was tending to a small indoor garden, adjusting the glowing plants so that they would receive just the right amount of energy. "Good morning, Commander," Lyra said, her voice calm and melodic. "Did you sleep well?" Jalen smiled. "Better than I have in years. This place, this night, everything is unlike anything I've known." "You are ready for today?" Taina asked. "There is much to show you, and much to do. Xira is a world of knowledge, and you are part of it now." Jalen nodded, feeling a mix of excitement and responsibility. He had come here as an observer, a diplomat, but he was quickly learning that understanding Xira meant action, participation, and trust. After breakfast, the 3 Xirians led Jalen through the city to the central council square. As they walked, the city seemed alive. Crystalline buildings shimmered with energy, and the streets were filled with small Gyrians going about their work. Some carried floating devices that hummed softly. Others tended to gardens that glowed with radiant light. Every detail seemed deliberate, intelligent, and harmonious. "Commander," Vaya said, "today you will see how we face challenges. Not every day on Jira is peaceful. Sometimes, we encounter obstacles that require intelligence, creativity, and cooperation." Jalen listened carefully, intrigued. The three had mentioned challenges before, but he had expected minor difficulties, not anything significant. As they approached the council hall, however, he saw a small group of Gyrians gathered in concern. Their faces were serious, and a soft hum of worry filled the air. Lyra stepped forward and spoke to the council members. Jalen could only catch a few words, but it was clear that there was a problem. Taina turned to him. "A technical anomaly has occurred," she explained quietly. "Some of the energy conduits in the city are misaligned. Normally, it would be a minor inconvenience, but the pattern suggests a larger issue, one that could disrupt the entire system if not corrected." Jalen's mind raced. Humans had faced technical problems before, but nothing on this scale. He looked at the three Gyrians. "Can we fix it?" he asked. "We can," Lyra said, "and we will. But it will require skill, coordination, and quick thinking. Will you assist us?" Jalen nodded without hesitation. "I'm ready." The three Gyrians led him to the heart of the city, where the energy conduits flowed like veins of light beneath the surface. They glowed softly, pulsing with a rhythm that seemed almost alive. Lyra pointed out areas of misalignment, showing Jalen how the conduits had shifted due to an unexpected energy surge. "This is delicate work," Lyra explained. "A single mistake could disrupt the flow for the entire city." Jalen knelt beside her, studying the conduits. At first glance, they seemed impossible to understand, interwoven streams of light that shifted with the slightest touch. But Lyra guided him patiently, explaining the principles behind the conduits and how to correct the alignment. Meanwhile, Taina and Vaya coordinated with other Gyrians, monitoring the city's energy systems and guiding teams to stabilize the flow. Jalen realized that these three, whom humans might have called small or odd-looking, were capable of incredible precision, intelligence, and leadership. Hours passed as they worked. Jalen adjusted conduits under Lyra's guidance, while Taina communicated with distant points in the city, and Vaya monitored the system's balance. Together, they moved as a single unit, anticipating each other's actions and responding to changes in real time. At one point, a conduit flashed dangerously, and Jalen froze. Lyra's voice was calm but firm. "Steady, Commander. Focus. Trust the system, and trust yourself." He took a deep breath and followed her instructions, adjusting the conduit with care. Slowly, the light steadied, and the danger passed. Jalen felt a surge of pride, not for himself alone, but for the teamwork that had made it possible. By mid-afternoon, the system was stable again. The city's energy flowed smoothly, glowing brighter than before, as though it recognized the effort and skill that had restored balance. The citizens of Jira emerged from their homes, watching the repaired conduits with awe and relief. "You see now," Vaya said softly, "why we value intelligence and cooperation above all else. Strength is not always physical. Sometimes, it is in the mind, in the heart, and in the ability to act together." Jalen looked at the three Gyrians and realized how right she was. He had spent years training humans for exploration, diplomacy, and leadership, but nothing had prepared him for this level of skill, precision, and harmony. These beings, whom some humans might have dismissed at first glance, were extraordinary in every way. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in shades of violet and gold, Lyra, Taina, and Vaya led Jalen to a quiet hill overlooking the city. The view was breathtaking. The city glowed below, and the rivers shimmered like liquid starlight. For a moment, The three Xerians were silent, watching the light dance across the landscape. "You have done well today, Commander," Taina said finally. "You acted with patience, intelligence, and courage. You are learning to see beyond appearances. And that is a rare gift." Jalen smiled, humbled. "I have learned from the best," he said. "You three, you are amazing. I understand now that what people call ugly is nothing compared to what truly matters." Vea stepped closer, her eyes reflecting the golden light. "True strength is not in how you look, but in how you think, how you act, and how you care for others. You have shown that you are ready to be part of Jira, not just as a guest, but as a partner," Lyra nodded. "And together, we can face anything. The galaxy is vast and unpredictable, but when minds work in harmony, there is no challenge too great." Jalen felt a deep sense of connection and respect. This first day of real partnership had taught him more than any mission or expedition ever could. The Xerians were more than small, intelligent beings. They were a society built on cooperation, creativity, and mutual respect. He understood now why humans had struggled to appreciate them fully. As night fell and the stars emerged above Xera, Jalen sat with Lyra, Taina, and Vea, sharing stories of Earth and listening to tales of Xera. Each story deepened their bond, and each shared idea strengthened his admiration for them. He realized that he was not just learning about their culture, he was learning about himself, about humanity, and about the true meaning of strength. By the time the soft glow of the city faded into the gentle light of the Xerian night, Jalen felt a renewed sense of purpose. He had come to Jira to observe, to mediate, and to explore, but today, he had discovered something far more valuable: the hidden strength of a people who were underestimated by the galaxy, and the extraordinary potential of understanding, trust, and partnership. As he lay down to rest, he looked at Lyra, Taina, and Vea, and smiled. The first night had changed everything, but this day, with its challenges and triumphs, had shown him that the universe was full of surprises, and that the most extraordinary discoveries were often found in the hearts and minds of those we least expected. And with that thought, Jalen drifted into a deep, peaceful sleep, ready to face whatever tomorrow might bring. With three extraordinary partners by his side, and a newfound appreciation for the hidden strengths that lay beneath every surface. The morning sun rose over Jira, painting the crystalline city in shades of gold and violet. Commander Jalen stood on the balcony of his dwelling, watching the rivers shimmer and the light reflect off the towering structures. The events of the previous days had changed him more than any mission or expedition ever had. He had arrived expecting strangeness, negotiated a union he had barely understood, and spent nights learning the culture and intelligence of the Xerians. Each day had revealed the depth, creativity, and courage of beings whom humans had often underestimated. Now, he was not just a visitor, he was part of their world. Lyra, Taina, and Vea joined him, moving gracefully across the balcony. Their presence felt natural, comforting, and inspiring. Together, they looked out over the city, a symbol of the partnership between humans and Xerians. "Commander," Taina said softly, "today is important. The Council has invited human representatives to observe Jira's advancements, and you will stand with us. Your experiences will show them that true understanding comes from respect and knowledge, not appearances." Jalen nodded. He had thought about this moment. Humans often judge Xerians by size, shape, or appearance, missing their brilliance and value. Today, he would help correct that. As they walked to the council square, the city seemed alive with anticipation. Citizens paused in their work, curious eyes following the procession. The humans observing from afar were skeptical, but the Xerians moved with confidence, demonstrating unity and intelligence. The council chamber was a grand hall of crystal and light. Representatives from human colonies were gathered, waiting for the presentation. Jalen took his place beside Lyra, Taina, and Vea, feeling both nervous and determined. Lyra began the demonstration. She explained Jira's energy conduits, showing how the city's systems balance themselves with minimal intervention. Taina spoke of communication networks, detailing how the Xirians shared knowledge efficiently across the planet. Vaya displayed the cultural and artistic achievements, illustrating how their society valued creativity, learning, and harmony. Jalen watched as human representatives listened closely, their skepticism fading. Many had expected small, unremarkable beings, yet the Xirians displayed intelligence, precision, and elegance in every action. Jalen realized that this was more than a presentation. It was a revelation. When it was his turn, he stepped forward. "I have spent my life exploring the galaxy," he said, "meeting different civilizations, solving conflicts, and learning from many worlds. But in all my experiences, I have never encountered a species like the Xirians. They are brilliant, creative, and courageous. To judge them by appearance alone would be a mistake, and one that humanity has been guilty of." The room fell silent. Jalen continued, "I arrived here expecting strangeness, perhaps even difficulty. What I found was intelligence, grace, and courage beyond measure. These three individuals, Lyra, Taina, and Vaya, have shown me what true strength and value are. It is not in size or shape, but in mind, heart, and character. Humanity has much to learn from Xira, and I am proud to be part of this journey." The human representatives murmured, some nodding in agreement. They had seen the evidence, and Jalen's words reinforced it. The Xirians, once underestimated and misunderstood, were finally being recognized for their true worth. After the presentation, the council invited everyone to a festival celebrating the alliance. The streets filled with glowing lanterns, floating displays, and music that resonated through the crystalline city. Humans and Xirians mingled, learning from one another, exchanging stories, and sharing laughter. Jalen walked with Lyra, Taina, and Vaya through the festival. He noticed how naturally humans and Xirians interacted now, curiosity replacing judgment. He realized that this moment, this connection, was the culmination of everything that had happened since he first arrived. Vaya pointed to a display showing the successful repair of the energy conduits. "That was an important step," she said. "It showed not just skill, but cooperation. Humans and Xirians working together can achieve what neither could alone." Taina added, "And today, everyone can see it. Your role, Commander, was crucial. You helped bridge the gap between worlds." Jalen smiled. "I did not do it alone. I had the best teachers possible. I have learned more from all of you than from years of exploration." Lyra looked at him with a gentle smile. "And that is the point, Commander. True understanding comes from working together, learning from one another, and seeing beyond appearances." And appearances. As the festival continued, Jalen reflected on the journey. He had come to Xira expecting duty, negotiation, and observation. Instead, he had found friendship, admiration, and respect. The Xirians had challenged his perceptions, teaching him that strength, intelligence, and beauty often came from unexpected places. The festival reached its peak with a ceremonial lighting of the central crystal tower. Colors shimmered and shifted, reflecting off the city and river, creating a breathtaking spectacle. Humans and Xirians watched together, united in awe and appreciation. Jalen realized that this celebration was more than a festival, it was a symbol. It represented the bridging of worlds, the correction of misconceptions, and the recognition that every being, regardless of size or appearance, had value and strength. As the night deepened, he walked with Lyra, Taina, and Vaya to a quiet overlook. The city glowed softly below, and the rivers reflected the stars above. Jalen felt a deep sense of peace. "You have changed the way I see the universe," he said quietly. "I came here to observe, to mediate, but I have learned so much more. You are extraordinary, in every way." Lyra nodded. "And you have learned to see us as we truly are. That is a rare and precious thing, Commander. Humans and Xirians can accomplish great things together, and the future is brighter because of it." "In fact, Taina added, "Remember this night, this understanding, and the knowledge you have gained. share it with others, and help humanity see what we have always known. Vaya smiled. Beauty is not always what the eyes see. Strength is not always what the body shows. Intelligence, courage, and heart, these are what endure. Jalen looked at them, 3 small figures glowing in the soft light, and felt gratitude and admiration. The first night had opened his mind. The following days had revealed their hidden strengths. And now, the festival had shown the world what he already knew, that these beings were remarkable, and that humanity had much to learn from them. As the city lights reflected in his eyes, Jalen made a silent promise. He would carry this understanding wherever he went. He would honor the Jirians, learn from them, and ensure that the galaxy saw them as they truly were, not strange or ugly, but extraordinary in mind, spirit, and heart. The festival continued around them, laughter and music filling the air. But Jalen felt a quiet contentment. He had found friendship, knowledge, and a deeper sense of purpose. More than that, he had discovered that the universe was full of wonder, and that the most valuable discoveries were often hidden in plain sight. As the night came to a gentle close, Jalen, Lyra, Tana, and Vea stood together, looking at the glowing city and the stars above. They had faced challenges, learned from one another, and demonstrated that intelligence, cooperation, and respect were stronger than any weapon, larger than any army, and more enduring than any fame. Jalen smiled, realizing that this was only the beginning. Jira was a world of endless knowledge, and he had 3 extraordinary guides, teachers, and companions to help him explore it. Together, humans and Jirians would face the galaxy not as separate species, but as allies, partners, and friends. And with that thought, he felt a deep sense of fulfillment. The first night had changed everything, but now, the world could see what he had known all along. That true greatness is measured not by appearance, but by mind, heart, and courage. In the glow of Jira's city, under the infinite stars of the universe, Commander Jalen understood the meaning of unity, the power of understanding, and the beauty of a world that had once seemed strange, but now felt like home.